Have you ever wanted to watch a first responder show grounded in gritty realism, where the trauma is slow but real, the CPR compressions are done more or less correctly, and the characters don't have over-exaggerated drama? Yeah, me neither. Which is why I watched the incredibly bad but entertaining firefighter show on ABC, 911. I don't need realism like The Pit. Give me my gay firefighters and Jennifer Love Hewitt trying to solve a meteor shower with a ladder or some shit. No, but if you've never heard of this show, it's probably a blessing. This show sucks, but I can't even lie, my dad and I will literally meet up every week to watch this show. I can't help it. And after the viral video came out of the promo for season 9 that was just so fucking bad, I knew I had to make a video on it. And that promo is bad. Terrible CGI, questionable acting, awful song choice, and yet I will be seated when this season comes out. I mean, Athena's going to space. This is going to be amazing. Now, do I think this show is realistic? Absolutely not. Do I care? Absolutely not. The show is basically a soap opera written by Jenny Han, but produced by Michael Bay and directed by the CEO of Red Bull or some shit. It's insane. Anyway, I want to treat this video as sort of an introduction to the show for any of you who have never seen it, and I will be doing that by highlighting one of my favorite arcs in the show, Bee-nado. A tornado of bees. I wish I was making this up. You ever been in LA where 22 million killer bees take over and it's up to like 5 firefighters and 1 cop to fix it? Well, you're about to. Welcome to network television, baby. We're ripping off Sharknado for a show about firefighters. Anyway, before we get into the episodes, I think I should quickly go over the characters so you know who they are. Starting with Bobby, the captain of the 118. He is the leader who doesn't have much of a storyline ever, except for his traumatic past, which is honestly so traumatic that I have no idea how he's allowed to still be a firefighter. But we loved him anyway, and he was a great captain. Listen closely to my grammar there. I'm still mad about it. If you know, you know. Next, we have Athena, a police sergeant and also Bobby's wife. She is known for being the only cop in the entirety of LA, both because there's never any other cops around and because she always does her own thing. It kind of gets annoying because she always thinks she's better than everyone, and yet it always works out in her favor, so you can't get annoyed. I mean, in these episodes, she's gonna land a plane, and in season 9, she's going to space. What am I supposed to do? Next, we have Buck, or who I consider to be the depressed golden retriever. He always wants the best in life, but constantly finds the worst, and then complains about it. That said, he'll always be the guy to solve the problems, even though more often than not, he also caused said problems. Then we have Maddie, Buck's sister, who works at 911 dispatch and cries a lot. I'm not even trying to make fun. She literally cries like every episode. She also seems to know everything about everything because she always knows exactly how to help people calling in. She must have learned all this shit from a ghost when she used to whisper to them. I bring the comedy around here. Then we have Chimney, Maddie's husband, who is like the moral compass of the group, but also has regenerative skin, because my god, this man has been hurt a lot during these 8 seasons and still manages to walk away unscathed. He literally had some rebar go through his forehead in season 1 and doesn't have a single scar. It's insane. Then we have Hen, who's a fantastic firefighter and paramedic, staying calm and collected, makes good jokes, but outside of work has nothing but marital problems. Literally every episode, her and her partner are fighting. Even when the storyline doesn't revolve around that, it ends up revolving around it by the end. Please give Hen better storylines. And then lastly, we have Eddie, the guy who the entire fandom wants to date Buck. Eddie is an indecisive man, as his storyline is constantly will they won't they with the same looking girl every season. Literally every season he finds the one, and then by the end of it he's like, nah, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't get it either. I guess maybe he should end up with Buck. But now that we have the very detailed character descriptions, I think we can dive into the show. Yes, there's a lot more to these characters, but I don't think telling you that Buck was a savior sibling is going to be relevant for Bee-nado. Again, I can't believe this is a real arc from a firefighter show. I can't even say it's the craziest arc. There are episodes weirder than this. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So this arc starts like any normal episode. A guy is flying a small plane until out of nowhere, thousands of bees swarm him and he ends up crashing into another plane. I'm not kidding, this is how it starts. Then we see the 118 dealing with a new captain because Bobby got transferred and has to supervise some firefighter show. Within the show. It's a whole meta thing. Meanwhile, Athena gets called in to go on a mission where she needs to transfer an inmate from one prison to another. And who is this inmate? Oh, just the guy who happened to have murdered her husband years ago. Her husband who also happened to be a cop. Yeah, I'm sure it's definitely not a conflict of interest for her to be doing this. Anyway, then we cut back to the bee storyline, where a truck blows up and releases 22 million bees onto the freeway. Why did it blow up? Don't fucking ask questions in this show.
That's a lot of bees.
You know, a storm can generate as much electricity as a storm cloud.
Good, because I forgot to charge my phone.
Oh god, this show's so bad. Anyway, a mother and daughter in the car nearby, who both happen to be allergic to bees and only having one EpiPen between them, get stung. This is drama. So Maddie coaches the young girl over the phone how to stretch the dose by somehow making 2 doses out of the 1 EpiPen to save them. I don't know if that should work, but who cares? Also, they tried recreating that Yellow Jackets poster. Just saying. Anyway, this is where I will give you some Aaron Compton lore drop. My family used to work at the fire district, and I was even a temp there working in their media department for about a year. So I know a little bit about firefighters and some of their procedures. In no way in hell should the 118 just casually have bee masks to fit their helmets just sitting on their rigs. Bee emergencies are not that common. But regardless, they help the mom and daughter use a vacuum to help this man get bees out of his mouth, which is really gross, and then the truck explodes again, causing the bees to go crazy.
Is that it's a bee NATO?
I can't, bro. Then we see this random divorce lady getting ready to reveal her new perfume, in which thousands of those bees are ready to pounce. They even stay here all night, and it's honestly amazing that none of them move and no one notices the carpet of bees the next day. But the perfume ends up attracting them like it's catnip, and they go on a full rampage. So Buck decides to use Eddie as bait by spraying a bunch of perfume on him to have him distract the bees while they rescue this lady hiding under the pool while breathing through part of a garden hose. The sentences I'm creating today are incredible, but they also use this song during the scene. Because why not? Then at the end, we see Eddie covered in bees. Yes, these are real bees. Don't fucking question it. These are real. Okay? Then there's this whole side plot storyline where Athena gets the inmate, but some random agent shows up wanting custody, real shady looking guy. So Athena says, no thank you, why don't you get in this trunk, and then I'm gonna go on a plane with my inmate, but I'm gonna go on a different plane towards LA. You're not gonna believe what happens next. But before that, Buck starts getting mad at new Captain Man because, well, he's a dick, and gets so fed up that he tackles him, but tackles at just the right time to save him from a saw blade that gets sent flying towards them for no fucking reason. I am telling you though, this can happen to anybody. Safety first, people. But the captain still gets hurt from the fall. Buck does this for some reason. And then the 118 do some cringy dances to celebrate the asshole captain having to go to the hospital. Absolutely wild that this show can do that and then cut to a sad funeral scene. This show is crazy. But the biggest part of this episode is that Athena makes it onto the plane, which just so happens to be the plane that the man from the beginning of the episode crashes into after being swarmed by the bees. This isn't a coincidence. This is pure cinema. All serious though, I really want to know what it was like pitching this idea. All right, hear me out, okay?
Okay.
Bees. Yeah? Yeah, you in the? Yeah, so bees, okay? But they get sent up into the sky and they crash into a plane.
Oh, shit.
I know, right? But get this, get this. The plane is gonna crash into another plane, an even bigger plane. Yeah? Yeah?
That's a good idea. Could we I feel like it needs to connect to the characters a little more, you know?
Okay, yeah. I got it.
Yeah?
We have Athena be on the plane.
Oh, dude.
Isn't that a good idea? I think that's
a great idea.
Oh, what if she landed it? Wait,
No.
what if she actually flew the plane and landed it herself?
Dude, that'd be sick.
Oh my god, we're gonna make so much money from that idea, right? And that is what happens. First of all, if you thought that this was a cheesy first responder show where no one died, think again. But the plane does take some damage from the other plane. We lose one pilot and the other goes unconscious. So who does it fall under to land this plane? Athena. Because why not? Apparently she's a police officer, a pilot, a doctor, and a comedian.
Nick, we're in trouble up here. We hit something.
We know, a light plane.
Yeah, not light enough.
Okay, Athena, don't start with the cheesy one-liners. Trust me, guys, she does this every episode. Then we see Bobby trying to tell the actors how to properly and correctly carry out calls as firefighters, which is ironic given what show we're watching. Rarely ever do the 118 do anything by the books or correctly. Then we see that more of the plane has damage.
That's not good!
No, it's not. All right, all these people back here are getting upgraded. Move everyone as far away from the tear as possible.
Athena, just say fucking move them. The show sucks, but it's so good. Then Maddie calls the 118 for help, almost crying as per usual. And they help passengers on the plane perform various medical procedures for the people with injuries.
You know, there's something else that you should know. There's a hole in the plane. Another one in the back.
You should move people away from that if you can.
Already done.
Oh my god. Then a flight instructor calls Athena to help her fly the plane, in which she sucks at it even though he gives the most direct instructions ever. Like, my god. But who saves the day? Some random ass kid who shows up out of nowhere and knows how to fly this, apparently. Once again, don't question it. Then while helping this man, this woman asks if anyone has erectile dysfunction, because it will help him breathe apparently. Also having the weirdest shot cut that I don't know why that was needed. Then she also asks for like asthma stuff, in which this lady does this.
Hi, me again. Now we're looking for a nebulizer. So if anybody has asthma or...
I packed one for my COPD.
You two, really coming through.
Perks of being geriatric, dear.
But it works, and she brings him back to life. Looks like they might even fall in love. I don't know. Anything's possible with this show.
Let the pills do their job and find a blanket and put it over his legs.
What's the blanket for?
Modesty.
Right.
There's no way. Then we get the traumatic backstory of this kid for some reason. Need as much drama as you can squeeze into this show. Athena and Prison Man make jokes about her landing the plane, because it's definitely time for that. And then this girl on her sports team delivers the most motivational speech I've ever heard.
I know it's scary, but we adapt, right? We got this. We're gonna be okay.
So the plane runs into more problems. Luckily, her and Random Kid are able to level the plane out, but they're running out of time as they're getting closer to the runway. Meanwhile, the 118, as well as like every other department, get called in to help, which is sort of crazy since rarely do they show any other fire stations in this show. It's like the 118 is the only fire station in the entirety of LA. But this is when Bobby finally learns about the plane.
Athena's on that flight, isn't she?
She's flying.
Of course she is. What else would she be doing?
Dude, my man Bobby seems so done with her. Then in a stroke of luck, the unconscious pilot is no longer unconscious, so he can land the plane. Except, uh-oh, he can't. He has a heart attack. They really needed to stretch the storyline out to the full 3 episodes. Keep in mind, this all started due to bees. Then Athena says this.
Where are you going?
To land this damn bird.
But once again, problems ensue. The rudder blows up for some reason and they can't turn the plane, so they have to find somewhere else to land. That's when Bobby suggests the freeway, which he somehow is able to clear in like 3 minutes. So it's up to Athena and this kid to land the plane safely. Then we see 911 dispatch all watching the TV like, what? Do your jobs! There has to be other 911 calls going on right now. What the fuck are you all doing? Then Bobby has a heart-to-heart with Athena as we see shots of the plane and the empty freeway. Now, I am no math wizard, even though I've made videos about how some shows and movies are unable to math, but this is not gonna work. Like, I know I said don't question anything in this show, but this is not gonna work. But it works. Buck goes for the aura shot, Maddie cries, little Timmy freezes up like when I see the cute girl at the bagel shop near me, really embarrassing when she sees me order a plain bagel sandwich and some chocolate milk, like I'm not a 25-year-old man. And Athena lands the plane. So you're telling me that Bobby did the math perfectly there to not get hit by the plane? That's some aura right there, I can't even lie. Then everyone's saved except, uh-oh, the plane explodes again because drama. And Bobby goes to rescue Athena because in this show, even when the woman does all the saving, there still needs to be a big strong man to save the day. This show's actually pretty good about equality. I just like causing drama for no reason. Just like this show does. Then they finish the whole subplot with the prisoner-inmate thing that I'm just gonna skip because I care more about the bees, but let's just say the whole trip led to Athena forgiving the man that killed her husband. Fun time all around. Anyway, so that was B-NATO, and that was just a taste of the incredible drama show 911. This is cinema at its finest. They are masters at spectacle first, logic later. And again, this episode is not much different and not much crazier than any other episode in the show. So if you do want to watch it, you're in for a treat, let me tell you. But I like to think we can all learn something from every episode in this show. And what I learned was this. Erectile dysfunction can save a life. Don't wear perfume, ever, and putting hands out will stop a plane from crashing into you. Thanks, Bobby. Nah, but in all seriousness, this is truly a great mindless show that you can watch. If you just want some entertainment after a long day, this really is the show for you. And I will admit that even though it's ridiculous and cheesy, there are some emotional moments that are actually handled really well, and some action scenes that are pretty solid. Now, does it make up for scenes like this? No, but I'll still give the show credit where it's due. I mean, shit, I've watched all 8 seasons of the show, and I will be watching season 9, so they must be doing something right. Anyway, if you guys like this video and want to see more, let me know. I'd love to talk more about the show, go over some of the weirdest calls, maybe go over season 9. Just let me know in the comments. If you want me to cover the episode where a man is having a heart attack, but right after we find his wife buried alive right under where he was sitting, I'll do it. Yes, that really happened in this show. But for now, thank you all so much for watching. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one.